Well, we wanted to continue a little bit with our talk this afternoon on another couple of questions. And I'd been asked to talk a little bit more about the prayer rope, and I'll probably repeat some of what I'd said before, and also to say something more about confession. And again, we made a recording quite some time ago about confession and the prayer rope, and we'll probably discuss those a little more right now because the two aspects to them that are very often missed are the way that they fit into the healing processes of the church. The church is a spiritual hospital, and all the things we have given to us in the church are there to heal our fallen human nature, to heal our own hypostasis, our own person, to heal not only, we sometimes think too much just about sin, and we say to heal the sinful nature, but that includes something else, and that is to deal with our inner human suffering. And we discussed this a little before, but I want to discuss it again, that when we approach confession, and when the priest approaches confession, we should never approach it in terms of some kind of penance or punishment for our sins, or self-atonement, as if Christ was insufficient for our salvation, but rather to approach it as part of the healing that we need ourselves, and the healing that we need to actually live a genuinely Christian life, not this external moralism or fulfilling moral laws and rules and regulations externally, while all kinds of wickedness go on in the heart and the mind, which is far too often the case. You know, we have a word for people who are hyper-pious but don't live any of that piety. It's called shatosha. And you can do thousands of prostrations in the church or make multitude signs of the cross and do all kinds of external things to sort of look holy without any transformation of the heart. So we want to get away from externals now and look at holiness itself. Really consists in perfect unselfish love. It doesn't consist in externally correct behavior. So the purification of the heart, the real transformation of the inner person, leads us directly to an unselfish love. And we can see this sometimes in those great elders who are able to tell our sins when we haven't opened our mouth at confession. And they confess us by telling us our sins and our weaknesses and our inner human sufferings as well. Because all sin is connected with inner human suffering. All sin is connected with inner human suffering. And in order to effect this transformation and lead people, help to give people strength against their sinfulness, we have to think about healing, not punishment. And because we're being redeemed, not punished. So when we use the prayer rope, I want people to try to think, don't sit there counting knots. Because when you're counting knots, you're not saying prayers. And you're conscious of how many knots have passed your finger, how many times you said, Господи Иисусе Христе Боже наш, помилуй нас, and not really focusing that prayer on the passions that are causing the inner human suffering. So use the prayer rope to help you focus and concentrate for a given period of time instead of just swinging knots so you've passed a certain number past your thumb and you think some great thing has been accomplished. Somebody might give you a prayer rule, well, you know, do 10,000 knots. Why not kick 10,000 cans or pick up 10,000 pebbles? No, focus on your prayer. Aim that prayer at the inner human suffering that we call passion, and try to get control of those passions, essentially giving them the frontal cortex or prefrontal cortex dominance over the emotional part of the brain. But really this is done by using the conscience, reason, and God's grace together to overcome these passions that cause inner human suffering that lead us into sin. And the other thing is that in confession, we're not just there to say, well, I broke this law, I broke that law, I sinned this way, I sinned that way, I swore, I cursed, all these things. But the things that are genuinely giving us trouble, the things that are weighing heavy on our heart and our minds, and causing us to lose our prayer life, causing us to have distress, even depression, causing us real inner torment and turmoil. All of these things are subject in confession. Because, again, this is about healing, not about punishing. So we can't say, I stole something, so punish me for it. That doesn't accomplish anything. It's sort of like saying, okay, here's your punishment, now go and do it again, we'll punish you again. This is about healing all of the strife, the things that weigh us down, this pain, the coldness in prayer, and all these other things. And so we have to look at both confession and the use of the chotki, or the prayer rope, as a means of the healing of our inner human person or being. And so this is really the essence of these things. We'll have to talk about them a great deal longer. If you go to CanadianOrthodoxBroadcasting.ca, there's a long melete on the 3 levels of prayer. And those of you who are interested in this, I would urge you to watch it at CanadianOrthodoxBroadcasting.ca. Go to the longer video channel, and this more lengthy discussion about the 3 levels of prayer would probably be helpful.